You have no idea what an art director ultimately wants. So for you to move around your motifs a little bit, trying to predict what somebody else wants, it's irrelevant, okay? You're wasting your time. One of the hardest parts about building a creative career is creating a portfolio that you're proud of. Building up your skill set and understanding the market for your art is hard enough, but you may feel like the biggest roadblock you're facing right now is creating new art, getting it to a spot that you think it's done, that it's worthy of your portfolio. Does this sound like you? You've been working on creating art for your surface pattern portfolio. You've created maybe 6 or 7 collections, plus you have a handful of single patterns. You've been listening to my advice, so you know that the sooner you start to pitch, the sooner you start making connections and find paying clients. So you start to format your art onto sales sheets in order to start sending it out. As you do, you start to see some parts of your art that isn't looking like you want it to. So you stop the formatting process and you start playing around with the repeat and the colors and things like that. Cut to 2 hours later where you've totally recolored the collection, you're drawing new icons because you're feeling like what you started with is trash, okay? I have totally been there. Being your own art director can be near to impossible when you're getting started creating art for products and you don't have a professional critical eye. That is one of the reasons I created successful licensing collections to help with the art making process through assessment checklists and lots of resources and examples. But even skilled designers can get caught in the perfectionist trap and have a hard time moving on from work and allowing it to be done. This is not only causing you stress and slowing down your progress, it's also completely exhausting. When I still have unfinished work hanging over my head for days and sometimes weeks on end, I end up using precious mental energy that I could be using somewhere else. So today I'm here with some tips to kick that inner self-doubter in the pants. If you've taken some time away from your art, if you've really considered what it needs to shine, and if you made some revisions and done some reworking and you're still not satisfied, it's time to get real. First of all, studies have shown you are most likely your own harshest critic. Researchers have proven that the theory of negativity bias, which states that your brain reacts more to negative input than positive feedback. So just know that you are totally normal to not love your own work, but you are likely viewing it through an extra negative lens. Anytime you've gotten a bad comment, no matter how many good comments you've gotten on your work, that bad comment sticks with you and it continues in a loop in your brain that you're not good enough or your work isn't good enough or you're never going to measure up, and all the negative self-talk that we have in our heads, that stuff sticks out so much more than all the other encouragement that we may have gotten from external sources. So understand that you are probably looking at your work through a lens of negative, harsh self-criticism. So first of all, you're not seeing things clearly if you don't feel like your work is done. Second, no matter what we think, our taste is actually irrelevant. It's about saleability. And the funny thing about saleability is it's very subjective. I say this all the time, art is subjective, but we need to remember that what one company or art director might think is amazing is what a different company or art director might never be interested in. I like to tell a story related to this about a neighbor of mine. When I lived at my old house, I lived on a cul-de-sac, and our neighbor in the cul-de-sac was selling his house. And he was getting it ready, getting that curbside appeal up. He pulled out a small front garden area that he had that was full of grass, and he made it into a garden with mulch and added a couple bushes. And this was an effort to get the front area looking really nice. When our new neighbors moved into that house, not 6 months later, they pulled out all the mulch, the couple bushes that had been planted, and reseeded grass. They had no idea that the previous owner had just ripped out all that stuff. So the point is, what he thought looked good, what he thought would be great to make his house more saleable. I mean, he made the sale, right? He sold it, but that was not what they really ultimately wanted. So you have no idea what an art director ultimately wants. So for you to move around your motifs a little bit and be trying to change colors and trying to predict what somebody else wants, it's irrelevant, okay? You're wasting your time. The next thing we have to think about when we really need a kick in the pants is a portfolio is only a snapshot of your skills. It is not absolute. You can always go back and revise. You can swap out prints at a later date. So if you're sending this off to pitch, obviously this is what you're showing the art director you can do at this moment. But 6 months later, you can send the exact same print that you've revised, recolored, changed if you really feel like it needs an upgrade. But remember that what you have in your portfolio right now is a great way to show what you can do right now. So you always have the opportunity to change it at a later date, but being done for now is so important. The next very important point to remember as we decide whether our work is done or if we need to mess around with it for another 4 days or 6 weeks or however long it takes to decide that you have finished your art and you can put it in your portfolio is you can't license or earn money on work that you refuse to acknowledge as finished. If you let it sit in a folder somewhere because you just haven't agreed to it being done, if you refuse to put it on your website or send it out to art directors or add it to your licensing portfolio or any sort of portfolio in any way, then you are restricting your ability to earn money because you have less to offer some potential client, because that work is hiding away and it might be the thing that they are looking for. And finally, if you've heard my metaphor about sending out art as being a little wave to an art director, you know, it's just sort of a get their attention, let them know you exist type thing, and it's something that needs to be continuously followed up, then you'll understand me when I say, even if you're not in your cutest outfit, it's a reminder that you exist, right? So if I'm saying it's a wave across the room, it's like, oh, if you run into someone that you're trying to impress at the grocery store, right? And you see them and you're like, oh, why did I wear sweatpants today? I should have been in like something really cute. It's okay. It's a reminder that you exist. They might still, you know, sending your artwork, even if it's not what you consider to be perfect. Like I said, for all those reasons, it might still be just what they need. But even if it's not, it's a reminder that you exist and that you continuously put out work and that you are reliable for new artwork. And that is a very important part of having a great relationship with your clients, is showing that you're consistent with your new artwork. So for those reasons, it is so important for you to not spend so much extra energy on trying to perfect your work, which is never going to get you to a place that you are pushing your career forward. It is not easy, but it's really important to find a balance between reasonable revisions, right? We make revisions. I'm not saying to just do your first draft and send it off, but finding a balance between reasonable revisions and moving forward. Remember that art is a process, and sometimes the best results come from allowing yourself to take these risks, appreciate where you are in your journey, and simply move forward. If you're really struggling with understanding how to design better work, if you feel like maybe it's not a perfectionist thing, maybe you really just don't have the basic knowledge, head to my website, elizabethsilver.com/portfolio-help. I'll have the link in the description where I give you my repeat layout guide and I take you through some of my favorite videos on improving your art. So head to that link. That can help you out if you really need some basic help. But if you are struggling with like going over and over the same art, I want you to take that art and say it's done and post it and be proud of it, because it is a great representation of where you are right now.